all types of guns held to our heads. I'm moving to London, me and my girlfriend, to get 10, 50. Your life, don't play with it. You think these people who start these business ventures come out of their pocket, get the money from their family? No. Somebody gets funded some way, some venture capitalist firm, some private equity. I was in Nashville. If you're ever in Nashville, 2 places you gotta go. Prince's Hot Chicken. Not any fried chicken. This is the only fried chicken I eat in the whole world, okay?
Correction. If my mom sees this, she will slap me. Mom, yours aside.
If you haven't noticed, I'm melanated. So we have a genetic predisposition for fried chicken, right? This chicken is so succulent, so juicy, comes out fresh, hot, steaming every time. There's 2 of them, okay? Go to the one not at the mall. Go to the one off of Nolensville Pike or Nolensville Parkway, whatever it is. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And then the next spot is my favorite restaurant, Rolf and Daughters. I crashed Rolf and Daughters because I didn't make a reservation. You got room for one? And typically they can accommodate you because I'm by myself, right? So she sits me at the bar, but she sits me in this seat, which is perfect for me because I'm 6'2" and some change. So I take up a little bit of room, you know? There's a wall right here, and then the seats go this way and then that way. So there's nobody over here, which is great. So I don't have to I can get as close as I want to the wall, stack plates and stuff. I plan to do some damage here, you know? And in walks some guy. He sits next to me. First of all, I'm trying to enjoy the ambiance in this dining experience, and I can't do that like this. So I set my phone aside and I'm chilling. So this guy next to me orders the bluefin tartare. He's smacking it. He's like, yo, this is crazy. I'm like, is that good? He's like, yeah. So I get one too, you know? We get to talking and I ask him, why you in town? And he's like, I came in for a business convention. I'm only going to be here 3 days. So I always come here when I come in town. I'm like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, well, what do you do? What kind of business? He says, sustainable real estate. Sustainable real estate. I didn't mean to have these on. I now cannot see the eye of the camera. Where was I at? Sustainable real estate. I've never heard of sustainable real estate. But you know how when you ask somebody what they do for a living, and then they give you an answer like, well, I'm the lead sanitary engineer at Pepsi. And you're like, ooh, the lead. And he handles sanitation, he takes out trash. So he's like sustainable real estate. And I'm like, here we go. I mean, he has a Rolex on, but it's a GMT. So it's not like, no presidential rollie or nothing. And he tells me the whole premise of his business style, his business model, he brings in equipment to older buildings, typically commercial, to reduce the carbon footprint so that they can get approved for tax incentives. So at the end of the year, as these real estate owners and developers, they can write off a bunch on taxes because they're very low emissions. At the same time, they run very efficiently because now you can do as much or more, but with less power, so your utilities are cheaper. The big brunt of all the bills is operation costs, right? So I'm like, damn, that's kind of smart. That's kind of crazy. And he's like, yeah, it's booming. I'm moving to London, me and my girlfriend. I'm like, when? He says, in June, July. I'm like, that's soon. Like, yeah, man. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, we're getting a property there. We're getting a property in Milan. We're getting a property in Paris. We're getting a property in Fiji. He's getting all these properties, right? And he's going to do the same thing to them. So I'm already thinking in my head, okay, residential and commercial real estate returns about 10.6% a year. So I'm like, so you got to be getting more than 10.6% a year to be moving all the way to London, buy all these properties in these tourist vacation spots. He's like, oh, for sure. So I'm like, well, that's not like a year flip. You got to be holding that piece of real estate long enough for it to appreciate, to exceed the 10.6% a year. How long are you holding these things for? Because if you try to get money in the stock market and regular stocks, like you invest in some ETF, I don't know, QQQ, whatever, because you got Google in there, they got Apple in there, I think Tesla's in there, a bunch of other companies. These big companies all wrapped up in this mutual fund. I don't care how good the market does or doesn't do, you ain't getting you're not averaging more than 7.5% a year. So it's going to take you 7 years to double your money, assuming you don't take out any profit, because you need the money to compound to double your money in 7 years. So getting into real estate does beat the stock market on average in returns. So I ask him, like, how long are you going to be holding these properties for? And he says 6 years, 7 years. I'm like, makes perfect sense. Okay, cool. He's like, we got private equity money. So he got funding, okay? Private equity funding. That's millions and millions and millions of funding. See, these entrepreneurs all get funded some kind of way or get investors some kind of way. Private equity money is a big deal, but also a big responsibility. He was like, yeah, they want to see how I flew here, make sure I didn't fly first class, because it's his own startup. He started it on his own. They want to see where I'm staying. He was staying at the Residence Inn. I was staying at Lowe's. Nothing's schmancy fancy, right? But he's like, I can't even stay at Lowe's because what do I look like? And I'm a struggling business owner saying I need this funding to start this company up. And I'm staying at like fancy spots. So he keeps like a low profile. It ain't your money. It's their money. They want everything allocated and they want to make sure you're not splurging with their investment money. A lot of responsibility. So I'm asking this dude, he's got a beard, you know, I can't really tell his age. So I'm like, how old are you? He says 35. I'm like, 35. Phenomenal. I don't know how you got into it. I guess he worked for a company that did it before. It's kind of a spinoff. Maybe he stole their idea. I don't know. Whenever someone asks me what I do, I always give one of two answers: derivatives or arbitrage. One or the other. Because arbitrage covers the Forex side and derivatives covers stocks like options and stuff. Now, the reason that I tell people derivatives or arbitrage is because usually they really don't care what you do. But I don't want to talk about it to somebody, one, who has no interest in it. They're just asking it as merely a cordiality. Or two, I'm not trying to talk somebody's ear off at a bar who came in for some drinks and the vibes. You know, it's not exactly barroom banter. If I give those two answers, typically people who are not privy are not going to ask any further questions. Oh, but not this guy. I want to say his name. I'm horrible at remembering names. Horrible. Okay, so let's just call him Mark. So then Mark says, oh, okay, so you don't have the asset, but you're making money from some kind of asset. I'm like, yeah, like in stock options. I don't own the stock, but I trade the options contract. He's like, cool. How's it going? How's it going? I'm having a great meal. I'm at the bar. How's it going, you ask? So I log right into MetaTrader real quick. Yeah, you see this right here? I'm scrolling through. Let me just say something to you. You've never met anybody, never been on the phone with anybody, didn't go to school with anybody, never so much as rubbed elbows with somebody that has averaged a 70-30 win-loss ratio, meaning they won 70+% of their trades. So I'm showing them. You see all these trades right here. So I'm like, here's all the wins. And you see these two marks? These are the two losses, okay? What you're looking at right now is plus 90%. I win 90% plus of my trades. That doesn't exist. And if anybody ever tells you that they win more than 70,
they're lying. I'm not.
I'm showing you. I win 90%. I do not have a job. Let's be honest. Working ages you. When you have to get up and grind and you don't own your time and somebody else does, that puts stresses and years on your life, especially if you're getting up and going to work and doing something you don't really like to do. I ain't had a job in 10 years. He was like, shut the up. Then my phone rings. I'll be right back. Pardon me. So I get up, and as I'm walking off, he's like, hey, you coming back, right? I'm like, yeah, I didn't even pay my bill. Like, this guy think I'm gonna dine and dash. She's like, no. You're gonna finish this story. I'm not even halfway done with you. So I take my call, boom. I go back inside. He's like, where are you from? Where did you go to school? Camden County, New Jersey, South Jersey, like 20 minutes from Philly. I went to school in San Diego, California, at San Diego State University. I have a bachelor's of science in psychology and a bachelor's of arts in philosophy. So he's like, that doesn't tell me anything. Where's the finance come in? It doesn't matter what strategy you use. If you don't know how to manage the money, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Remember, 90% of the people who start this lose, okay? So I came up with a mathematical formula for mitigating risk. And that's the formula in my first video, right? He's like, right, okay, so you manage money, but how are you getting consistent wins? What's the strategy? Give me the secret, you know? You got time? Because I love to talk about myself. We can get it in. He's like, no, tell me what you're doing. So I'm like, all right, check this out. If I took a rubber band and then took the two ends and stretched that rubber band to two extremes, when I let go of the rubber band, what happens to the rubber band? It snaps back in place, right? It goes back to normal. In other words, it goes back to homeostasis. Well, the market's no different, okay? There's this thing called a bell curve. It's shaped like a bell. Under the bell-shaped portion of this curve is normal. The 90% of the people are right in that area. Then you have these things called standard deviations. They're just the little hash marks on the outside along the line before the bell starts to curve. Okay? They're the outliers. So what people want to do is get in the middle and ride it to one of the extremes and cash out. They think they have to win big on every trade. This is the behavior. 90% of the people do this. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait for them to find the gold, for them to strike oil, for them to show me where the extremes are in the market. When the price is driven way up or the price is driven way down, I'm going to wait for that thing to happen. I'm not going to try to predict it because the market is random anyway. Forget trying to predict the market. No one can do it, okay? I'll let these guys find the needle in the haystack for me. And when it gets to those extremes, I'll bet it's going back to normal. Because balance is always restored. Everything comes back to homeostasis. I guarantee you, there may not be many extremes, but there'll always be a normal. Always be a normal. In the alerts package that I use, when you back check the alerts, what direction do they point in? They point to normal. I only get 1, 2, 3 alerts a week. More alerts don't equate to more money. You got more opportunities to win and more opportunities to lose. The whole point of me doing this was to free up my time so that I can do whatever I want to do. I don't want to be crunching numbers all day, and I can sustain my life and take care of my family for the rest of their lives and my lives with this one skill set. It's not about winning big one time. It's about consistent wins over time. Nothing, and I mean nothing on the planet, will ever beat consistency over time. What's the most destructive natural resource on Earth? Any takers? No, it's not a volcanic eruption. It's not lava. Nope, not a tornado. Not a hurricane. Not a hailstorm. It's glacier ice erosion.
Although glacial ice is a solid, it actually flows like a river. It's incredible to think that this much ice is constantly on the move. And it's the phenomenal weight of this enormous ice pack, over 9 kilometers long and up to 500 meters deep. Millions of tons of ice crammed into this valley. Makes very slow progress. A time-lapse camera shows that Nigod's surface ice travels at around 275 meters per year, carving away the rock as it goes.
It's shaping the surface of the earth. It's shaving down rocks. You don't even see it happening, but it is consistent. It is consistent. It is consistent. And over time, nothing will be more destructive.
The variable that I want to maximize for in my investments is endurance. If I can just earn average returns for an above average period of time, it's going to lead to amount of success that will literally put you in the top 5% of investors.
Think about that. The universe is always giving us the answers. Our experiences are always giving us the answers. Since normal will always exist, every time it gets to the extreme, I get a text on my phone that says, hey, this is at an extreme. If I want to copy that alert, it's my choice.
You can use any alerts package you want. I used to use forex.com alerts. It will have you crunching numbers all day, but for some people, that's kind of their thing. They like to crunch numbers. The account is free and the alerts are free. You will end up in some win-loss ratio. Hopefully you win more than you lose. Look at the top. Gobi, paid members announcements chat. I used to pay these guys for alerts. These are the kind of packages that you pay for, and they try to predict what the market is going to do. They're not predicting normal. They're predicting where the market will go. Now, I don't use that strategy anymore. I'm comfortable where I'm at. But for the tool that I'm about to show you how to use to make more money, you can use any alerts package you want. Let's make more money with these alerts. I promised I would show you. Here it is. The topic actually came up in class today. Eric was teaching. Eric, you are doing an incredible job. The value that they give in this course is better than courses that I've paid thousands of dollars for. In the course, they go over this alerts package. So the information is always super relevant and they're doing it for free. It's free, y'all. Go over there, check them out. Shout out to all of you, the whole Eon platform and all you Eonites. I'll put the contact information for the person who runs the course in the description. We need to utilize the lot size calculator on this website. So go to mymama.uk, scroll all the way down to the bottom, fill out your contact information. Make sure you put the right information because you're going to miss the whole point of... Anyway, put requesting forecast password. In the question, just put requesting forecast password. In about 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, they'll send you a password and you can log in to use this lot size calculator that we're going to use to give us more opportunities to make money and help prevent us from losing money. For FREE is free. So whether or not you have a paid version or the free version, this calculator is accessible to you. Go to the top of the page, log in. If it's free, you just select forecast, enter your guest password, and scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to teach you to utilize this tool in a way that will prevent you from missing more opportunities to make money. A lot of people are doing this. They're entering their entire account balance in the calculator, then pressing enter. And after they press enter, they take that number and they go make money with it, which is fine. Fantastic. You're making money. But there's a better way to do it. Now look, this number is usually in the red for some time, a week or so. I've seen it 60 days in the red. We're doing this trade live and it's already in the blue in a matter of seconds, which means we can cash out right now. So just know it'll be in the red for some time. And then eventually, when it goes blue, you cash out.
Now, what I want to emphasize is this. We were plugging in the balance, right? But when you are in a position, when you have active trades, you don't put your balance in the lot size calculator. It will cause you to over margin, and then your margin level percentage will drop below 100 for 3 consecutive days. They will take the money you wagered. Emphasis on consecutive.
Even I'm still confused. I tried to be clear. What I'm saying is your margin level percentage cannot be below 100% for 3 consecutive days, or they will take the money you wagered. It doesn't mean they're going to take the money for 3 days. It just means if on the third day at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, your margin level percentage is below 100, on that third day, they will take the money you wagered. Not your entire balance. And I'm mainly talking about Owanda because most of us choice investors are using Owanda. But the material point is, don't over margin.
You have to put in your free margin. If you are in a position, again, you do not put your balance in the lot size calculator. You put your free margin because you are in positions. So you don't have the entire balance available. You have your free margin available. Okay, now this is where it gets cool. We plugged in our free margin available. We press enter. We get 23.11. Now we take that number and go make money, right? Not exactly. I mean, you can, and it's very safe, but it limits you. It puts all your eggs in one basket. Let me show you what you do when you get your recommended lot size. Enter that money-making number right into a calculator, 23.11, then divide by 2. Now this number is 5 digits long, but there's only enough room for 4 digits. So ignore the last number. The cheat sheet, our alert, shows us to enter CADJPY and sell it. Now open up the MetaTrader app on your phone, select CAD JPY, select trade. Now we enter that lot size number that we divided by 2, 11.55, right here in the middle. Now, did the alert say sell or buy? It showed a sell, so I copy it. Now we were requoted at practically the same price. I accept, and it's done. Now I've only used 11.55. Remember, that's half because we divided it in half by 2. So now I have the other 11.55 to do whatever I want. If the price gets even better and I can buy it for cheaper, I can now buy the same position at 11.55 and make even more money, which is great. But more importantly, when new alerts come out, new opportunities, my entire margin isn't frozen up in one position. I've got more margin because I divided it by 2 to do stuff when other alerts come out. When new alerts come out, new opportunities to make money, I have free margin available to do it safely. That's why we divide it by 2. Now, if you have less than $1,000, you'd kind of be doing this more for practice because you really wouldn't make that much more. Obviously, the more money you have, the more money you make. That's why we went over funding in this video, because the cat's out the bag. The process, the formula, it all makes you money. And now we know the more money you have available, the more money you make. And the more money you make, the less you worry about the rent, car payment, cell phone bill, mortgage, the bills. When you give yourself the freedom to think outside of bills, then you can be yourself. Then you can be more creative, loving, patient, kind, supportive, all those things. Now, without further ado, I hate when people say that, but it rhymed, the best you do. Anyway, let's make the money. Let's close the trade and make our money. Hold down the blue number in profit, then close position, then close with profit. 2,591 in the bag. Now you're not stuck dividing by 2. You can divide by 4, divide by 6, divide by 8. But this is the way you use that free tool, that free lot size calculator, to take advantage of money-making opportunities that show up in your future. Key point. Now, when you're entering in that middle number, that lot size number, one of those 4 digits has to be a number greater than 0. That money-making number cannot be 00.00. So when you split that money-making number up by 2, by 4, whatever you do, if you get 00.00 and some other numbers, that just means your balance isn't large enough to run this play, and you should enter in that money-making number, that lot size number, as is.
This guy's so intrigued because I'm getting a better rate of return than he's getting.
So he wants to know how it all began. So I tell him, the first time I effed the market up was in elementary school. I was like 11, 12 years old. One of 4 kids in the household, and I wanted school clothes. Look at this vest here. Probably some hand-me-down from church or something, I don't know. Mom kept us sharp, looking nice. That's not a diss, but kids want what they want. I wanted to fit in, wear the stuff that they wore. New clothes, new sneakers, skateboards. I knew I had to plot out a way to make some money. So I would go around the neighborhood, mowing lawns, cutting grass for money. That was my thing. I'd be knocking on your door as a preteen, petitioning to mow your grass for $20. Well, one time I ran into this guy who had a Frito-Lay truck in his front yard. That was a eureka moment for 2 reasons. Number one, in our house, snacks were like a commodity. And if you wanted some snacks or something, you had to ask permission. There was 4 kids in the house. You couldn't just give us free reign. We'd go crazy. So number one, this guy could provide me access to unlimited snacks. Number 2, these are the same snacks that sell in the cafeteria in my lunchroom in elementary school. I could sell these snacks. So I cut a deal with him. Hey, look, instead of $20, I'll cut your grass for $10, but then you got to give me a box of these snacks, which had 50 bags of chips in them. It was a done deal. He didn't even hesitate. In his mind, he's getting his grass cut for $10, which is half the price. I don't know what he told Frito-Lay, but twice a month, a box came up missing. That's between him and his God. I became the God of the lunchroom. I was selling these snacks for 50 cents cheaper than the cafeteria was. It's a box of 50. That's $25. Essentially, this guy was paying me an extra $15 on top of what I would normally get paid to cut grass. It was a good deal until the cafeteria realized they were losing a lot of money during my lunch period. So I got called to the office.
Chris Unseen, report to the principal's office now.
And the principal wasn't a nice person. They called my mom's husband, which led to, well.
I tell them, look, I effed up the market in elementary school, okay? I got beat for that, mind you. You can't beat the entrepreneur out of me. I had one of those stepdads, you know? Like, I didn't get praised for my business acumen. I got whooped for it. And here I am, still getting it. You know what I'm saying?
Which kind of messed up my head a little bit. I was a kid. So consequently, I was beat for being a good businessman, which just made me do it in the dark.
So fast forward, right?
I ended up studying coercivity. Well, magnetic coercivity to be specific, which is how strong the magnetic field needs to be to change the data on the back of a card. I ended up discovering this little loophole with gift cards, which came at a very opportunistic time for me and my family because my mom was recently divorced and I was able to take care of them for a while. They were back east and I brought them back to California, was able to, give them a place to stay and stuff. But eventually I got in trouble. It was illegal. And I learned that the justice system is the injustice system firsthand. Not to say that they were wrong for correcting my wrongs, but they were trying to take advantage. So I fired my public defender and had a girl I was dating at the time. Her name was Adrian. And I had her write letters to me in regular handwriting on the front, but on the back, I had her printing out information about law because they never gave me access to a law library, which is a violation of due process. Shout out to you. If you ever see this, Adrian, God bless you. District attorneys and prosecutors, for the most part, are there to prosecute. They're not there to seek out the truth. So they'll throw all kinds of crazy charges and just tell you to sign.
Okay.
And they'll pressure you with time. You're going to get 7 years and 8 months.
What happened to your arm, man?
Sign this deal, you'll get, 6 years or something stupid. All the while you're sitting in this, it's basically an ice box at the bottom of these courtrooms. It's just like a little torture tactic to get you to sign so you can go out right away, But it's a trap. Once you sign on the dotted line, you just sold your soul, basically. Now, if you injure somebody, or damage someone's property, or do something heinous, then you deserve to sit your ass down. But there's procedure. And if it's not adhered to, then they're taking advantage. I wasn't with that. So I knew I was onto something because the information that I was smuggling into jail, the legal information, was powerful enough. Well, when you're in county, you have to go to court once a month.
All right.
And they started sending me to court every day. 5 days a week. They wanted to strip you ass naked, search you in the freezing cold temperatures at like 4 a.m. before the sun is up. All I had was paper, pencil, and my understanding of law. When that didn't work, they sent somebody into the jail to pose as an inmate. He was part of a brotherhood, and I'll just leave that like that. And I filled out my own affidavits, hand wrote these. They give you these pencils in jail, okay? But they're not a regular pencil. They're these dwarf pencils because they don't want you to turn them into a weapon. Anyway, I ended up negotiating my own situation. And instead of 7 years and 8 months, I got out in 4 months. No BS, guys. I had become so proficient with this law thing that, I ended up in the Southern District of Manhattan on a case against a guy named Brandon Marshall. This guy's definitely a Hall of Fame candidate. They were paying him $18.5 million to play at the time.
Balls off the defender, and the Jets are a point after away from.
He was the defendant, and here I am sitting across from this guy who has no idea that he was answering my interrogatories straight from jail. I was writing them out on that little half a pencil. That's right, I had a client that wouldn't fire me because they took their case to these hotshot attorneys. It was on the front page of the New York Inquirer, and the attorneys couldn't get the case heard in court. And here I am, this jailbird, who ends up getting the case moved from Southern California and turned into a federal diversity case being heard in federal court at 500 Pearl Street.
The Southern District of Manhattan is Attorney General territory, the holy grail of all jurisdictions, arguably the most powerful jurisdiction in the United States.
It's where every single judge is handpicked by the President of the United States. And even if you're an attorney and you pass the bar and you've done it all, you can't even work there because you need a special certification to work in those courtrooms. But since I'm not an attorney, you can't take away my license. I ain't got one. So there I was working in federal court. It was quite an experience.
My clients fly me from California to New York. No law school, fresh out of jail.
Let's not forget, people depend on me to move a lot of cash safely. If you happen to be traveling with what they consider a lot of cash, some federal agents will try and take it from you.
Did you fill out California Constitution, Article 20, Section 3, oath of office? Take it easy.
See, the thing is, if I never got in trouble and my rights were never violated, I wouldn't know how to protect the money. And my trading career would never have taken off the way it did. To see how this all played out, you got to watch the first video. And the formula to how this all works is in that video. The link is in the description.
I've done enough stupid things as a child, as an adolescent, through college, been in trouble with the law. And every time that I went through a hard time, I always left that situation more edified than when I came in.
So the decriminalization movement came through California. It's called Prop 215. And you could get marijuana if you had a prescription from a doctor.
You could only distribute to people who had a medical card, like a prescription. But in California, you could get a prescription for medicinal marijuana if your thumb hurt. Like, the doctors just saw it as a way to make money, and you had to pay for the prescription. I'm like, I can figure out the licensing and permitting. So I end up getting 501c3 not-for-profit entities to entrepreneurs who are looking to get into the industry.
And people who were opening up shops, I was the one they would pay $7,000 a pop. Pretty nice, right? To get the licensing and permitting to open up shop. Because the alternative was you'd have to pay a lawyer, an attorney, $15,000-$20,000 to do the same damn thing.
Eventually, I started my own venture with 3 other business partners.
Whoa.
Man, be careful who you get into business with. These guys were shysters, shady. One owned a bakery, still there, I think, in San Diego, called Le Parfait Paris. It's a French pastry spot, actually pretty decent. His name was Guillaume, and he had a cousin who was kind of like a little pet who had to be involved because he just wasn't doing anything really with his life. Then they had another guy named Mark, who was kind of like his paperwork guy. And they were trying to figure out a way, I found out later, to oust me. They wanted control over the business. And it was me who kind of brought the industry to them. And shout out, man, these women in my life. This young lady named Nancy. Such a lady, too. She introduced me to Guillaume. He had like the construction connects and stuff to do the build out and make everything ADA compliant, you know, for like handicapped people, for the building and stuff, so we could get open and get permitted and whatnot. They ended up showing me this receipt for an SOV, statement of values, for the construction that we were doing in the building.
And it was actually from another restaurant, and I discovered it, and that didn't work out. So just be careful who you get in bed with in business, because they may look the part, if you catch my drift. And she told me to watch these characters, and she was right. And even like friends that I had at the time, she would point things out. When you open up a shop, you would think your friends would come and support. But there'll be some who don't even show up, don't mention it, act like it didn't even happen, which is kind of strange, Like, same thing happened in my daughter's uncle's shop. He opened up a coffee shop. And his sister, yes, Melina's mom, she would tell me, like, yeah, his friends wouldn't even come by. There were no congratulations. Watch out for the people who claim to be your friend. And when you reach another level of success, they're not applauding. They're ignoring it. So Nancy sharpened my eyes so much to watch out for these behaviors. Her dad used to own a store in their country, and she just watched shady business practices happen around her father and people taking advantage of his naivety. And she wouldn't let that happen to me. Very instrumental in me distancing myself away from certain quote unquote friends at the time. So in San Diego, once your shop starts getting some decent foot traffic, the city rezones you or sends you a notice and says, hey, something's wrong. Pay us $1,000 a day to stay open. Then eventually they allow you to do that for a while. And $1,000 a day is nothing to you because the profit margins are just that good.
Then these notices came. I didn't know. I go to open up the shop one day. It's me, my ex-girlfriend. She left a pair of earrings there the night before, and security. So when we open up, automatic AK-47s, all types of guns held to our heads. They take everything, okay? Then they put us in handcuffs. They take us to the station. They offer us food and drinks. The security had a carne asada burrito, a horchata. I don't know what else he had. He had a bunch of stuff. We wouldn't accept anything. All they really wanted to know was, where's the money? The money was in Guillaume's safe. This wasn't unlawful. No one was going to jail for that. In fact, they took us back in a squad car, took us to Mission Valley, and there's a Ross in Mission Valley. It's next to Marshall's and Wendy's. And they drove to the back of it where the dumpsters are and just kicked us out of the car. They couldn't get no more money. They had no more use for us, okay? It was a shakedown, come on. In that, I had met someone, and he used this thing called an extractor, and he would take the fats and lipids off of the plants and make this gold liquid out of it. You can make cannabis oil from it. And this guy came in the shop one day, and he said, hey, I made one. It's in my garage. Now, I'm not going to say this guy's name because he still works for the government. I go to see this guy an hour and a half outside of San Diego, and lo and behold, this freaking rocket ship looking thing is built inside of his garage. He built it. The guy ends up working for General Atomics, the fusion fission facility. They're working on this thing called the tokamak D3D. The tokamak.
Fusion scientists from all over the world have come together in Eder to build a tokamak.
Right now, I am inside the assembly hall of the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor in the south of France. And just behind me back there is where scientists and engineers are working to replicate what happens inside the sun. Now, this is so much more than just another energy project. It's a $22 billion science experiment.
Anyway, I had the opportunity to work with this guy for a long time. And I learned a lot working with him. We made a lot of money together. One of the most brilliant men I've ever met in my life. When I tell you genius, I mean, like stuff we're not supposed to know, he knows. He took me to a place where no man has gone before. Well, very few men, very few engineers have ever gone before.
Crazy. Can't even see it on camera.
Energy is like oxygen for life.
As long as you are a human being on the earth, we need energy.
The planet is fine, but it will get rid of us.
And so
I got to play with chemicals and see different things that normal people don't get to see in their whole life, you know? I was inside the tokamak, walking through the tokamak, touching stuff, looking around. This man had me inside the tokamak. Crazy, the story. And I learned that it's lined with yttrium.
Yttrium is a chemical element with a symbol Y and atomic number 39. It is a silvery metallic metal and has often been classified as a rare earth element.
Basically, you can try to burn it to hell. You can put it through the worst conditions. And it has this ability to take all of that adversity and turn it into light energy. And while inside of this energy dome, I had this epiphany. I thought to myself, I need the most efficient way to make the most change in the world, but will have the sonic boom, just like this tokamak D3D. That's when I started to explore ways to understand the beast, the money, right? Pardon me. I needed to understand the money first. And it was in learning about the money that I found my way. And through all of the adversity from childhood to adulthood that's happened in my life, through it all, just like the yttrium, I turned it into light. And I'm trying to light the whole world with it. So if you've ever been through something in life and it's overshadowed you, come into the light. We're making money over here.
I just need to go on record and say this. There is nowhere on the planet, nowhere on the internet, nowhere on YouTube where you can watch one video, and after one video, if you've never traded in your entire life, never even heard the word trading ever in life, I'm talking about a newbie, a virgin, someone who can't even spell the word trading. On their first go, winning 90+% of their trades. Look through these videos. The testimonials speak for themselves. We do not play here. This is the paradigm shift. We are changing lives, changing families. We are shifting the momentum in our favor. Let's go.
But we all have tons of power. And the really interesting thing in life is to show people the levels of power that they have, the levers of power that they have, that don't start with trying to change the outside world, that start with the inside of their heads, inside of their heads, inside of their heads.
Yo, I don't care what anybody tells you. Anything worth having comes with stress. You want a better body, bigger muscles? You have to stress the muscle out. Whatever the goal is, let's just say it's quitting your job and relying solely on you and a phone to sustain the rest of your life. Let's just say that's the goal. If it doesn't come with some semblance of fear and uncertainty and doubt, maybe a little bit of nervousness, then you didn't set the bar high enough. The goal's no good.
Where'd you teach?
I teach at Harvard University.
You're a professor of happiness.
Yeah. Good things come to those who wait. And when you wait, you suffer. And you need that suffering as part of the basic satisfying experience.
You're supposed to feel uncomfortable. It's unknown. Speak in front of a room full of people. You're supposed to feel the nerves or nervousness. Now check this out. Chemically in the body, nervousness and excitement are the same thing. Now, let's dive into this for a second. People are afraid to be nervous, but you're not afraid to be excited. When you're unwrapping that birthday gift and you know what's inside is what you've been wanting for a long time, you're not afraid of that feeling, but they're the same thing. You guys, these are programs. You're operating a program, and most people will die stuck in the program. Today, we're going to unplug.
I found this really interesting piece of research from Harvard Medical School called Reframing Performance Anxiety, where researchers wanted to know, since, people really screw up tests when they get nervous, right? You get nervous about a test and then you can't focus. And so you blow it because you've got performance anxiety, or athletes that really blow it when they get nervous before a game. Well, medically speaking, there is no physiological difference in your body state, physiologically speaking, between being nervous and being excited. Zero difference. That experience that made you feel nervous, when you feel excited, the same thing happens. Your heart races, the blood leaves your digestive tract and goes up to your major organs. Your armpits start to sweat, your throat feels tight, your hands get clammy. Exact same physiological experience, excitement and nervous. The only difference between a situation that makes you excited and a situation that makes you nervous is what your brain is saying about what's happening. So if you're in a situation where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to screw up this test, this is going to be terrible, and you start working yourself up, and I'm so nervous, I'm going to blow this interview, I'm so nervous. Of course you're going to start sweating. Of course your heart's going to race. If you and I are about to go see our favorite musician, let's say we have front row tickets, Adele is going to play right here in London. We are right there. Oh my God, she's about to come on stage. My heart's racing. My armpits are sweating. I'm excited because my brain's going, Adele's about to be there. So the body makes sense in the excitement situation. So the researchers at Harvard wanted to know, well, given that physiologically it's the exact same experience, is it possible to trick the brain in a moment when you're nervous and make your brain think you're excited? And if you did trick your brain in a moment when you were nervous to believe that you were actually excited, would it impact your ability to perform? And the answer is yes, you can trick your brain in a situation where you're nervous to believe that you're actually excited. And yes, it profoundly impacts your ability to perform. And so they put people in control groups in like a karaoke competition, a negotiation competition, a standardized test, and a track meet. And there were only, the only difference between the groups is one group was taught in a situation that made them nervous to simply say, as dumb as this sounds, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to run this race. I'm so excited to take this test. I'm so excited to get out there and sing. Even though they felt nervous, I'm so excited. And the people that were taught to say, I'm so excited, outperformed the people who had no tools. And the reason can be explained by chemistry and physiology and neurology. If you get too nervous and you start to get too worked up and your thoughts start to spin and your body stays in a fight or flight state, your brain releases cortisol. And cortisol impacts your brain's ability to focus. So all your preparation goes out the window because you just blew it with the cortisol in your brain. When you say, I'm excited, even if you feel nervous, your brain buys it and doesn't release cortisol, which allows you to focus on what you need to do. And so I started experimenting with this because I was deathly afraid of flying. And at the age of 45, I'm now all of a sudden, because of that TEDx talk, starting to take off on the speaking circuit, and I'm having to board planes, and I'm being bombarded with these thoughts of, I'm going to die. I'm never going to see my kids get married. Is my husband going to remarry? Will I make it? And so I said, I got to figure out a better way. And so I stumbled into this project and I came up with this strategy, and this is freaking genius. I've taught it to millions of people. It's curing people's anxiety. I kid you not. Therapists are using this around the world. It is extraordinary. So before you have to do something that makes you nervous, come up with anything that you can grab onto that makes you excited about what you're doing. So for example, with the example of flying, before I get on an airplane, I'm not afraid to fly at all anymore. But back in the day, back when 8 years ago, before I would get on a plane, so I'm flying to London, I would think of something I'm excited to do when I get to London. And so before I board that plane in Boston, I would think about coming here and meeting Stephen and getting to hang out with him. When I get on that plane and we're up in the air, and all of a sudden we start bouncing around like, something, like turbulence in the air. And my body goes, oh my God. I close my eyes and go, I am so excited to see Stephen. This is going to be amazing. And what happens is that my mind goes, whoa, hold on. She's not nervous. She's excited to see Stephen. And your body literally settles. And your mind locks on to this thing that makes sense because I'm going to London. I'm going to see you. And if I'm going to see you, the plane obviously makes it. So there's nothing to worry about. And it took me about 5 or 6 times of doing it. And I stopped having any kind of anxiety whatsoever about flying.
It's really interesting.
90% of people look at great success that other people have accomplished, and that's where they set their limitations.
Lesson number 1, knowledge of self. You are not the body. It's a vehicle. You are the thing controlling the body. It's literally made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Where do you find those ingredients? Where can they come from? Because you think you're this biped piece of flesh traversing the earth to and fro, night and day. And you couldn't be more wrong.
If you met something or someone that descended from outer space, from the stars, okay, and they came to this planet, what would you call them?
My limited comprehension of what it means to be a living being was when I found out that carbon and all the stuff that makes us has to come out of a dying star.
Yeah.
Like that alone, that there's this very strange cycle of these enormous fireballs that forge the material that makes Brian Cox.
Yeah.
That there is some strange loop of biological life that comes from stars, which is like the most elemental thing that we can observe. We see these things in the sky. We see the sun in the sky. It's this all-powerful ball of fire.
Yeah.
And that is where the building blocks for a person come from.
I know. And they will be from the carbon atoms in our body. That you're right, they all got made in stars.
You're the pilot navigating a starship. Plain and simple. There's no way around it. So once you drive this vehicle using programs like I can't, I'm dumb, I'm too nervous, all you're doing is running a program to set limitations. You're a star, and you ain't got no limitations.
The atoms of your body are traceable to stars that manufactured them in the core, in the crucibles of the thermonuclear fusion inside the cores of stars. And these stars exploded, scattered these elements across the galaxy into the next generation gas clouds that then collapsed, formed star systems with ingredients that can now make planets, with planets that now have ingredients that can now make life. We are alive in this universe. And because our atoms are traceable to the universe itself, the universe is alive within us. You are special, not because you're different from the universe. You are special because you are the same as the universe. To me, that borders on spiritual. We are not figuratively, but literally stardust.
That's beautiful.
Fly your vessel to infinity and beyond, literally. Don't let Hollywood dictate to you what a star is or what a starship or spaceship even looks like. Yours can see, feel, taste, touch, smell. If this ship gets damaged, it will heal itself. It's way more high tech than anything they showed us on TV. Forget them starships. We're in the one. We are the one. Lesson number 2, how to fly. The starship is not supposed to control you. You are supposed to control it. Some time ago, in Rancho Penasquitos, California, I had a meeting with Agent White and his colleague. They were CIA. The difference between someone who was the captain, the pilot, the navigator of their starship, as opposed to someone just being trapped inside the body / starship as merely a passenger, is what the CIA differentiates between the trained and the untrained. What you perceive or your perceptions shouldn't lead your perspective. Your perspective should guide your perception.
They don't think that way yet. That's the huge advantage to what CIA calls the trained and the untrained. Trained people at least are aware that there's an alternative option. Untrained people aren't even aware that there's an option. The vast majority of people out there are what I call bobbleheads. They don't even know there's an option. They're completely unaware of an alternative solution, an alternative process. So they're trapped in their perception. They're trapped in their emotion. They're trapped in their subjectivity.
I'm telling you right now, if you can unplug as a trader, you're going to be more successful. And life will be less stressful. Because, ask around, winners buy and hold.
Right? All the money is made in the long term, but they have branded it to you and told you that it wasn't sexy. Please stop deviating from the plan. They're literally robbing you of your future.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a good word brought to you by Ian
Public service announcement.
St. Augustine told us, patience is the companion of wisdom.
When I get or when I see someone doing something that I want to do, that I haven't done yet, or accomplishing something that I want to accomplish, I'll run a program called jealousy. Do you know how motivating jealousy is? Do you know how motivating envy is? I will let my starship be overwhelmed with a program called jealousy. And it will motivate me to achieve what it is I want to achieve so that I no longer have the feelings of jealousy. These are just programs.
Which begs the question, so how do you run a program? Well, look, to provide a computer or other machine with coded instructions for the automatic performance of a task. Definitively, that's what a program is. Coded instructions, the language, computer code, like Object-C, Object-C+, Java. The program needs a language to communicate in. You speak English. You know what jealousy is. Oh, I can do that better than. She thinks she hot. You know how to speak jealousy. So just start speaking the language. You can trigger these experiences by speaking the language and allow it to motivate you right out of procrastination if need be. I'm not saying jealousy and envy are good or bad. What I'm saying is, in life, you will experience some sort of jealousy or envy or anger or stress. And since you're going to experience it anyway, why not use it to your advantage? Because it's inevitable. It's going to happen at some point.
If nothing else, manifesting something that I neutrally, objectively don't prefer can still be used positively, because if nothing else, I can look at that and go, seeing what I don't prefer more clearly helps me see what I do prefer more clearly, by contrast. Therefore, I've used what I don't prefer in a way that I prefer. And therefore, I get a benefit, even from something I don't prefer.
When Uncle Fester throws them glasses on, he is a completely different person. I mean, it's biblical. And in all things, God works for the good of those who love him.
Just use them momentarily and then unplug when you don't need them.
For a great many of you, this is your first time spending your cognition in a level above your primordial sentient existence. It's kind of nice up here, you have to admit. A lot of freedom. A lot less stress. Stress is a program. You can use it. Deadlines put stress on you, but they make you perform, don't they? Because the number one reason is still the number one reason. The number one reason people don't start changing their lives is
fear is what's stopping people from making money in the markets. Sure, people are good at making money at times, but the tendency is to make it, lose it. Make it, lose it.
And we keep winning, making it. I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying this. You fundamental technical analysis extraordinaires, you Fibonacci level setters, support and resistance go-getters. Newsflash. If you look at 30 years of data, what you'll find out is whether the market does good or bad, 50-50, it's random. It's literally random. So no matter how good you are at stochastics, RSI raters, you Fibonacci candle users, it don't matter. You can't predict the market because the market, by definition, statistically, is random.
This is the statistics of the Dow Jones Index over the last 7,500 trading days, or 30 years. What I find incredibly interesting is that the distribution of winning days and losing days in the Dow Jones is exactly 50-50. Over those 7,500 trading days, half of them were winning days and half of them were losing days. So for all this talk of technical analysis, I realize whether we're in a raving bull market or in a devastating bear market, the odds of a winning day or a losing day is 50-50. Absolutely anything can happen.
I don't care how much statistics and stats and whatever you know, there's no statistically significant data. There's no real pattern at 50-50. It's a toss-up. Literally, toss a coin, that's what that is. What I need to focus on is, in them 30 years, the failure rate is and was the same.
But over here, we don't trade like the 90% of people who fail. Out of 100%, 90% will lose all their money and never return. The track record, the numbers speak for themselves. We're the top 10% over here.
That in order for me to avoid being like the 90%, I need to think completely the opposite of the 90%. And the 90%, they're engaged with targets. Oh, the Dow is going to go here, and then it's going to go here, and Elliott wave analysis perpetuates those things. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do it either, so I don't. So why are we still trying to trade this way anymore? I say to hell with that. I'm just going to follow the money now. If you back check the forecast, you realize it's just following the money. Look at the bottom of this page right here. This is new and this really helps me because I'm a visual learner. Visually, this makes so much sense to me. If I see a bunch of green, then the institutional money, the big money, is long in the trade. Long means buy. If I see a bunch of red, then that means the institutional money is short in the trade. Short means sell. It's visually right here in your face. So you can look at the forecast alert. Pick one of the alerts, like CADJPY. Let's pick this one. Look at it visually. All the institutional money is red on it, meaning it's short on it, meaning they're going to sell. It's like color coded. It's so simple. Now, for those of you who like to trade and like to crunch numbers all day and just enjoy the math of it and the geeking out of it, I respect that. But what I would suggest you do is whatever alerts you get, come here, use this tool. It's free. Use the tool and visually see if the alert that you have makes sense with the institutional money, makes sense with where the big money is going. Follow the money.
Don't attack the market from the point of view of where do I think it's going to go? Think, where do everyone else thinks it's going to go?
I use my skill set. Everything that I've learned in trading, I use it, but I don't use it to predict what's going to happen. I use it to maximize profit. Now that I know I have a strategy that consistently makes money, all I'm interested in using my skill set for is making sure I get the most profit each time. I only jump into 1 to 5 alerts a month. This is not the sexy, salacious, ooh, I'm a day trader, I'm a scalper. Like, this ain't that. These trades you sit on and you cash out when you're comfortable. The unseen formula. It manages your risk. It works.
They had a mathematical formula. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look that formula up on Google if you want to. It's not a secret anymore, but the system still works. It's efficient. It's not difficult to understand Fibonacci and stochastics and all these things. No, fighting our natural urges is what makes trading difficult. And he knew it.
Don't take it from me. Take it from the best trader in the world, Mr. Dennis. Let him know.
Today, Richard Dennis is one of the most well-known traders in the history of financial markets. Richard Dennis started his trading journey with just a small loan from his family, borrowing $1,600 to fund his dreams. With this, he took the brave step of purchasing a seat on the Mid-America Exchange for $1,200, which left him with only $400 to trade with. But with a mind focused on success, he turned that $400 into an incredible $200 million.
Richard Dennis advocated was that out of 100 trades you execute, 97 of them are going to be Nah. But 3 of them are going to be ka-ching. And you never know which one of the hundreds it is. So you just have to sit there on your bottom. Sit on your hands. And I swear to you, he says, the hardest thing in the world is to sit on your hands and just let the market do what the market does.
A lot of you are superheroes to everybody else in your life and nothing to yourselves. You'll do everything for everybody else, but won't do nothing for yourself. And that's got to change. I need you to put yourself first. I need you to be selfish for the betterment of everyone around you. The better you become as a human being, the more you learn, the more you ascend, the better off everyone else is. Make the right choice.